I'm Susanna Lazarus.
And I'm Ellie Harrison.
And we're here to react to a rather sad Love Island last night.
Yeah,
Poor Laura.
Poor Laura. We think it might be the end of her and Jack.
I actually really thought he'd go for that. The kind of, that I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I actually don't think she really gave it all the context she could, because I think she could have talked more about the fact she felt under pressure just to end it, and instead she explained it in a kind of slightly weird way that I just think he didn't quite get. Bless Jack.
Also, it was unfortunate. I think what she was actually trying to do is apologise and say, please, can I have you back? But what she kept saying is, oh, it's really difficult for me, it's really hard for me. And I know that if I'd have been Jack, and he does say it at one point in the dinner, oh, but don't you know how hard it's been for me? Hang on a minute, like if you're trying to get me back, talk less about yourself. And it's a shame, but clearly her conversation with him when she broke up with him the night before had scared him off, and he's not going to go back to her so easily. I respect him for it, but I do feel bad for Laura.
And she's doing that classic girl thing of, oh, now he doesn't want me, I want him even more. So
Forbidden fruit.
She's having a nightmare. But I feel like we've had enough times where Laura's sad and crying in a beach hut. I want good things for her.
Yeah, she deserves it. People keep stealing her man, and I don't know, I thought Jack and her were compatible.
And she's clearly just got this like deep insecurity that even when there was a sniff of someone maybe stealing her man, it's almost like she kind of went ahead and did it before anyone else could.
Exactly, she wanted to push, well, not that, she wanted to jump before she was pushed. But also I think, what we didn't really realise is that half the reason she did it is because she hasn't seen the video that we've all seen. You know, she doesn't know that actually it was Georgia that put it on Jack.
Good use of the lingo.
Thanks.
I like it.
So really she's kind of struggling with like believing her kind of former best mate or the boy. So I think that did play into it, but she didn't really talk about how she wasn't sure if he had kissed her or not.
Which begs the question of why, Love Island, why have you not shown Laura this footage? If you're going to show Danny footage of Jack reacting to his ex-girlfriend, why can't you show Laura what Georgia did in her date with new Jack?
They only show them the bad news.
I know.
It's so unfair.
Well, it would be bad news for Georgia, wouldn't it? Because she's been trumpeting her loyalty for the last few days. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I really want to like Georgia. I was her biggest fan up until the last few days. And even when...
So fierce.
You know, I sort of almost questioned my own account of that date she had with new Jack. I was thinking, no, she can't have kissed him. Then I watched it back. You can actually watch it back on radiotimes.com. I did watch it back on radiotimes.com, and I thought, oh, she is in the wrong here.
Yeah, he's very reluctant.
Did kiss him.
Yeah, and twice really goes for it. And you can see that he was kind of going for the cheek.
I mean, it takes two to tango. He could have not kissed her twice if he really wanted to not kiss her twice. But it was her initiating.
Yeah, God. I think also, it's funny because it's kind of like mimicking the World Cup replay. It's just like everyone wants this VAR now. It's so useful. But the whole of Twitter last night was like, come on, show the video.
Time out.
Who knows? Maybe later on.
Yes, I reckon it's not escaped Love Island's producers that this will make a very good piece of television. So maybe they're just sort of biding their time and waiting for their moment to kind of slip it in there.
Or at least I want to be there when Laura gets out of the villa and watches it back.
Yes, because that's the thing. She was like, how am I ever going to know? And I was like, Laura.
It's literally on national television. Remember,
you're going to know.
They do. They all forget. It's amazing. I don't know. This is some kind of magic potion. But now Jack is, well, he's kind of semi-moving on already, potentially with Grace, who's coupled up with Alex, but obviously there's no chemistry between those two. What they speak about is their hobbies, as if they're in a French exam.
And if you're wondering, hold on, new Jack and Grace, this is something that happens, you know, later on tonight. It's not something that I saw coming. Is it something you saw coming?
No, not at all. I think what it is that Grace is kind of open, you know, like open to crack on with. So he's trying his luck with her. But there's some movements towards getting to know each other better from tonight. We don't know if it will happen.
Do you think that would work? Do you see anything there?
I wouldn't put them together. I think Jack actually has like interesting stuff to say and some depth, and I don't know if I've seen that from Grace yet.
It's a weird one with Grace, isn't it? Because we've not really seen anything from her. But I mean, either that's producers just choosing not to show us footage of her, or it's that she's not got enough that's interesting to say that makes them think, oh, we'll put that in the show. You know, I guess it's one and the same, really, isn't it? I've got no attachment to Grace.
I have a feeling it might be that Grace doesn't have much to say, only because it happened before when she started getting with Alex. It was like, oh, she hadn't been on it at all, and then when she was useful for someone to couple up with, I know it sounds awful, then she was on it. And so if it keeps happening, it makes you think maybe don't have much to say. And then when she is on it, she just talks about
Maybe
hairdressing.
She's got this beguiling sense, because it makes it a very confusing watch for viewers when we see first Alex, who seemed really into Charlie, then veer off towards Grace. And now we're seeing the same happen with new Jack.
Yeah.
She's got this beguiling, like, you know, doesn't speak but sense that attracts
Yeah,
what he's meant to her. What's going on?
Absolute magnet without even speaking.
But I mean, popularity on this show is obviously important. Popularity with viewers, because we're going to get our say later tonight, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But you know, could Grace be in danger given that she's a bit of a non-entity?
That's true. People haven't seen much of her. I can't imagine them voting to save. But yes, more on that later. Meanwhile, on tonight's episode, it looks like love is truly in the air for a few couples. Obviously, not Laura and Jack, sadly.
But if you were thinking, oh, this is really sad, we've got some like nice moments by the looks of it to sort of perk us up.
Something uplifting.
Starting with Danny and Jack, who are just lovely. I just love watching them. They make me so happy. My favourite bit actually from yesterday was when Jack was in his apron cooking the spaghetti bolognese and talking about he'll be doing this in 15 years' time.
Oh
Dan,
my
I'm
gosh.
doing my bolognese. I like the fact that he's already jumping 15 years ahead. He didn't even seem to realise that he was doing it. It just came naturally to him.
Oh yeah, it's just Danny, my future wife, you know, that's fine.
Lockdown deal.
We have noticed that literally at every given opportunity, actually just whenever Danny pauses for breath, Jack goes, but you know I love you, right? Which is sweet. He is definitely laying on very factor 50 thick with Danny.
He doesn't even need to. Of
No.
all the people in the house, he's not the one that needs to. I just love that he still does. He's lovely.
Actually, me and my housemates played Snog, Marry, Pie the other day, and Jack was the one that we all decided to marry.
Yeah, of course.
So
Who did
we
you
hope
pie?
Danny does too. I pied Wes. Because just fed up. And Snogged Josh.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I think I'd pie Sam Bird, actually.
Oh, do you think? Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Even though he does seem to be getting on quite well with Georgia. I mean, I'm not really sure if there's anything really there. But they seem to be cozying up to each other nicely. I do think that he stirs things with Georgia quite a lot. When she says, oh, I'm so upset, he says, yeah, don't know how this is going to work out for you. He doesn't really, he's just a bit bitchy.
Yeah, he is a bit sly. Well, Samira can be that way as well, I realised. And then who else? Oh, it looks like things are going to develop between Josh and Kaz this evening. So they go on a special champagne date. And he starts saying to her, oh, you know, I'm starting to feel quite emotional. I don't really usually talk about my feelings. And then he says something along the lines of, oh, which is why I want to ask you, ... That's all we know.
Oh, I wonder what he could ask.
What could it possibly, yeah. So the Love Island producers are massively hinting that he's going to ask her to be his girlfriend. We don't know if he will, but if he does, do we think Kaz would say yes? Does she seem like she's there?
Would Kaz say yes?
Would any girl say yes? No.
I just like the fact he's like obsessed with all of her, isn't he? Do you know when he was like looking at her toes the other day? And
Oh
he was
my
like,
gosh.
you got really
That's
cute
gross.
toes. And I was like, oh, yeah, exactly. Too much.
Too loved up, yeah. Every inch of it. No, that's right.
Another couple who are quite sickening at the moment are Megan and Wes, largely because I think we can speak for the nation in saying that we don't want that to work out. I mean, I don't want that to work out, do you?
No, I don't. They just don't deserve it, I'm sorry. But yeah, they were bonding over their geekiness at school, which we were saying maybe I find it quite hard to believe that was how they were. But
I think they had a chat about batteries earlier on in the series, and that was Megan proving that she was geeky.
Oh yeah, was it batteries and like their connection?
Like electrons
setting
and
the
protons.
circuit life. Yeah.
I didn't even made it as far as the phrase electrons and protons. I mean, Wes, in fairness, is an engineer, so he's probably legitimately geeky.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. And that's not just because of Megan, how she looks at her profession. It's nothing to do with that. It's literally how we've got to know her over the course of the last few weeks. I don't buy the geekiness.
No, I don't. I think the geekiest girl has to be Samira. She's just an absolute goofball and just cracks me up.
Goofy,
yeah,
I think would be the word for Samira.
Oh, so funny.
But yeah, I'm not so sure. But I mean, Wes, you know, Megan does say in tonight's episode, if he asked me to be his girlfriend, I
wouldn't say no.
Yeah, so that's quite a significant development.
A ringing endorsement for Wes there.
Well, he's clawed it back, hasn't he? He's come back from the brink as Wes. He's finally got the girl he was after. But I mean, yeah, he won't be redeemed for me while he's with Megan. That pairing is just a bit toxic.
Yeah, I think it is toxic too. But yeah, as I said before, I don't know what it is about you. I keep coming back to you. It's what Megan said about Wes. So maybe there is something genuine between them, but unfortunately it's been to the detriment of many, many other Love Islanders. Wonder what EL's thinking right now.
Yeah. If you're watching EL, send us in your thoughts.
Yeah, please, in the comments below.
Of course, it's, you know, seemingly fairly harmonious on Love Island at the moment, but the unbeknownst to the Islanders, the villa is going to be rocked tonight by 2 dumpings. We were voting last night for our favourites, and the people with the least vote. You can confirm this, actually. You've spoken to ITV.
Yeah, I spoke to ITV today, and essentially the one boy and one girl with the least votes will be dumped from the island. But before that, around the fire pit, they're going to reveal which 3 boys got the lowest votes and which 3 girls got the lowest votes. And apparently this sends a few shockwaves through the Islanders because there's a few surprises down there. So, I mean, I don't know who that will mean is in the bottom. We were kind of guessing.
It was very cool.
And then I was going to say, so 2, and then in spite of that, just the 2 bottom Islanders will go, 1 girl and 1 boy. But obviously everyone in the island will know who is the least popular, so that might have an impact on the dynamic.
I mean, it would suggest the fact that they're going to give us the bottom 3 for each gender suggests that there are some big names there.
Yeah.
I don't know who you think might be at risk. We should stress we don't know.
Yeah, no, we have no idea. So we were thinking people who might be at risk were, well, Grace, because of how we said earlier, like she hasn't really had much airtime. You know, people wouldn't think to vote to save her necessarily.
Sam Bird is another one, I think. I mean, he's had a bit more airtime recently, but he just hasn't made much of an impact in the way that some of the more characterful Islanders have.
I guess a big name that could be down there is Georgia, because was so loved when she was kind of being fierce and independent against Josh and Kaz. But now that she's in so many arguments in the villa, people might not want to save her, and she'd be a big character to go.
And what people really don't like on Love Island is double standards. And when you're walking around telling everyone how loyal you are, yet there is video evidence that speaks otherwise, then yeah, that might have a dent in your, in fairness to her very vast popularity up to that point.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if the extent of her popularity beforehand might be enough just to pull her out of that bottom 3. Who knows? I think Ellie actually is another one who could be at risk, mainly because of the use of her colourful language the other night.
That really rocked the boat. I mean, within the show, lots of people condemned her for that, and outside, she really came out quite fiercely then. I didn't know that Ellie had it in her.
Didn't really want her to have it in her. I quite liked her up to that point, and that came out, and now she's sort of, she uses every opportunity to have a word about Georgia behind her back. So I'm not Ellie's biggest fan anymore, and obviously Megan also joins in on that.
Speaking of Ellie, actually, Charlie could be in the bottom, because we never really see her. We see a lot of her, and then him kind of comforting her.
Although also standing up to her. There was an element the other night, you know, when he was saying, that wasn't cool what you said. I think he might have earned a few fans through that.
That's true.
I think obviously you can't not talk about Megan and Wes as well. They've both been muggy, I think is the correct term, in their behaviour towards some of their fellow Islanders. Will this finally be the public's chance to see Megan out of the villa, or will it be a surprise? You know, will we save her? It's all to play for. And crucially, we're not just losing Islanders tonight; we are gaining 2 new male Islanders. The obvious people who they might gravitate towards, I would say, are Laura and Georgia. What do you think?
Yes, that sounds right, because Laura's obviously freed up again, and Georgia, well, it'd be interesting to know if people would gravitate to Georgia just knowing how fiery she can be, but I think even when people have watched the show before and then gone in, it hasn't put them off, i.e. like Adam still managed to get girls, even despite his behaviour when they went on.
I sort of miss Adam, am I allowed to say that? There's something about him, I miss him.
Yeah, loads of people were sad to see him go. It's because he'd been there right from the start, hadn't he? And he became quite funny, I guess, towards the end.
I liked his bromance with Alex as well, I missed that.
Yeah. With all the advice.
Yeah.
God, all the misguided advice.
But it will be really interesting to see, you know, who these 2 new boys are and what waves they make when they make their way in.
Yeah.
Which rock-solid couples could be rocked. Will Megan's eye turn again? I think Danny's the only one who, maybe Kaz as well, who I don't think their heads will be turned. But
no. But what is interesting is that actually even couples who are solid, they could end up single if they're separated in tonight's dumping, so it might free up people for the new boys that we hadn't even anticipated.
True, although I think we can safely assume that Danny and Jack are here to stay.
I think so. I hope so. There'll be like mass riots in the street if not, I imagine. That's not condoning that.
That's everything we had to talk about ahead of tonight's episode. But as always, do have your say in the comments box just below. Who do you think will go home later tonight? Who do you want to get shacked up with a new Islander? Who do you think, you know, really deserves it this time round? As always as well, do visit radiotimes.com for all of the Love Island content we have. We've got videos, we've got pictures, we've got exclusive news stories. Do come over. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.